Yeah, there's our dispatch portal of purchase contract for pocket watches. So now I can just input those into here, set down a... how much are we going to get? 26 silver a piece. Wow. So we can actually just take these and feed them right back into the belts, into the line somewhere. Wish I'd have thought about that. Having a nice place to do that where I don't have to jump over a bunch of belts. But I will probably just take them out of here and feed them into the main line somewhere over here. Yeah, they'll just snap into right there. But yeah, there's our pocket watches built. Welcome back to Alchemy Factory, everybody. Where we last left off, we built this black powder setup here, and we are fueling everything. It's not that it's not running, it's just it's backed up right now. Everything is full on this floor. Our rail is full all the way around, so we have fuel for anything we need to build now. And it's not producing a lot, but it's such an efficient fuel that it doesn't require much. Once it, it fills the machines up really fast. Anyways, today we need to tackle, we're getting requests for these pocket watches. Like pretty much every day I get a new request for these pocket watches, so we need to start working on this today. It looks like it's crafted in an advanced assembler, so we're going to go ahead and unlock that as well, and then we'll unlock this pocket watch. It looks like it also gives us the ability to unlock an unstable catalyst, which is also made in an advanced assembler, but today we're focused on this because nothing is asking for this. Can it even be sold? I don't know. No, the unstable catalyst cannot be sold. But we can sell this jewelry. Let me get this research done and get down in advanced assembler and see what all we need to build this. Alright, advanced assembler. Let's set the recipe for this pocket watch. See how quickly it crafts and what all we need here. Alright, this is crafted. Base speed is 5 a minute. It is using steel gears, copper bearings, and glass. It's a fairly straightforward build. Copper again, though, so that's a pain. Actually, no. It might not be. We're making copper right here, aren't we? Yeah. Right here's copper. I'm turning it all into coins and sending it on this line, and it's actually backing up. We're not spending much on this floor yet. Why don't we instead just take these copper ingots out of this? And we'll utilize them instead of turning them into coins. These produce, I want to say 10 a minute, 5 a minute. I forget. I'll have to double check the math on that. But actually, I could just look at the blueprint, right? I always write it down in the blueprint. Says it produces 10 ingots a minute. I do have another build that produces copper ingots at 15 a minute. Of course, that's base speed. Our speeds are going to be faster with our upgrades, but okay, so we can turn those into copper bearings. We need, at the base speed, we need 10 a minute. Alright, that should be fairly easy to achieve then. We will also need 10 a minute steel gears and 30 a minute glass to get 5 a minute pocket watches. Okay. I'm going to shoot for building 1. I don't know that this is something we're going to need a lot of. Aside from the quests, I don't think we'll need a lot of it. It will sell in the store, though, so I'm going to start with 1. And once this is accomplished, if we need to ramp it up, we can always build another machine, right? Okay, this is going to be a fairly straightforward build, then. It's not going to require too much. If I'm looking at all the numbers right, we get about 7 a minute at base speed. No, I'm sorry. We get 3 a minute base speed on steel gears. We need 10, so we essentially need 3 processors for steel. We'll need 1 for copper bearings to get 10 a minute. It produces 10 a minute exactly if you input 5 a minute ingots. And then glass comes out at 10 a minute. We need 30. So we'll need 3 kilns producing glass. Yeah, 3 kilns producing glass, 3 processors making steel gears, and then 1 processor making our copper bearings. We're going to pull our copper out of here. I will need to bring a steel build up here. We've got a decent one already. Alright, I think I've got some blueprints ready. First thing I did was come over here and convert these from making coins from our copper into copper bearings. So we're no longer making copper coins. We're making copper bearings. I'm just putting in a storage box for now. We'll send them over when we need them. I also put up a priority splitter for these iron ingots to come out of here. It's a little bit convoluted, it's a little bit messy, but they are going to come out on one belt right here. I just need to figure how I'm going to get it into the build. So we are going to be using some of these iron ingots instead of throwing them all away. So that's our copper. And then I've got this build for our steel. It is a new design of my steel gears build. Actually, my old build, I just made steel ingots in. This one actually has the gears integrated into the build. So let me just put it down so you can get a good idea of what it's doing here. So we're going to have a purchasing portal in the back that's going to buy coal. The coal is going to hit this crusher and turn into, well, this is coal ore. It's going to hit the crusher, turn it into coal. That coal is going to come up and hit these two crucibles. That is going to turn it into coke. The coke is going to come up, hit a couple of grinders. It's going to turn it into coke powder. The coke powder is going to come across and then go up into our Athanor. The Athanor needs coke powder and iron ingots to produce steel ingots. We're going to feed... It also outputs iron ingots, if you guys remember. So you get a lot more iron ingots out of this than you do steel. So I am recycling the iron ingots out of this, and I actually don't need all of these lab stands here. You can kind of see it a little bit better what's going on. So this is going to be my output for my iron right here. The steel is just going to come up and into these processors to make the steel gears, right? Well, the iron is actually flowing underneath these processors. I just use lab stands. It's going underneath the processor and circling back around to feed into itself to recycle those spare iron ingots, all right? We're going to get a little bit of supplement iron from that build over there, and it's going to feed into the back right here on these three lines. It's not going to require much. I think the math works out to be this machine produces 10.4 at base speed iron steel gears per minute. 10.4. What we need is 10, but that's just the way the math works out on these, that they produce an odd number. The Athanors produce an odd number of steel ingots as well, but the ingots to the processor is 1-to-1. So our Athanor to processor is 1-to-1. And so we're going to get a few supplemental off of that priority splitter. We're going to get a few extra iron ingots just to make sure, for one, it's going to feed it the initial batch of iron ingots, and then it's going to be running mostly on the recycled iron ingots. And then whatever is not feeding into this line, whenever this line fills up, it will dispatch it all to the trash from the priority splitter. So, in theory, that's all ready to go. So that's our 30 or 10 steel gears a minute. In our case, we need 30. Same for copper bearings. That's our copper bearings. Now, glass, I've already got a build utilizing glass. I accidentally deleted the floor. We're actually using the glass on this floor here, I think. Yeah. These right here are producing glass. So I'm literally just going to take this build right here. It produces 10 glass a minute. We need base speed 10. So we need 30 at base speed. So I'm just going to plop that guy down. Let's see. Make sure I've got everything. Steel gears. 10 a minute. Yep, that's that build. Which I accidentally saved it twice, but... okay, and then the last one we need is down here, the glass. And it is going to sit... I guess it really matters where this is not going to be the final placement. So this one is designed to be stacked right up against each other. And we need 3 of these. That's how I designed it originally. So we just need to get our fuel line in right here. We'll feed fuel probably from the rail back here, feed it into the back of this machine, and then we need a purchasing portal buying stone for all of these crushers. The crushers, take the limestone, turn it into stone. It goes through grinders, making sand. The sand then pays to the side and up to come into the back of the kiln to make glass. So we just need to feed it fuel from this line right here. That's going to be fuel. We could take it from the other direction if we wanted to, either way. And then we're going to get our output of glass right here. We just need to drop it down. So we'll just do like lab stand over these and then pay it out right there. We can copy and paste that 3 times and then drop it to the floor with something very similar. Copy and paste this one. There and there. All right, so that's our glass. That can all run on one belt into this. Same with this one. This is going to be our steel gears output. We got 3 lines, but it'll all run on one belt into this. And then our copper bearings we've got over here, we'll feed them in as well. That's going to be kind of a long belt. One way or the other, I'm going to either have a long belt coming from the copper or a long belt coming from the iron ingots into this. Alternatively, I could just, well, build another iron build, but I'm not going to. I mean, I could come up with a way to input the iron with and make this self-sustaining so that it doesn't need any iron from somewhere else. But essentially just run a processor, a furnace there, and then put a smelter on top, and that would likely produce more than enough. One smelter would probably produce more than enough. That might be simpler than just trying to run these belts over here. And then I could actually squeeze the build a little bit closer to here, but then we wouldn't be taking the iron out of this. It would all be going to the trash. I don't know. It's whatever you guys want to do. If you're following along at home, if you're playing this game too, you do it however you like. I don't need this block here. That was just there so that I could climb up on top of this. Oh, and it gave me a good excuse to use these weird drawbridges, which I've never used. Unfortunately, you cannot lab stand over them, and I needed a way to get over these stone crushers. So I thought, why not? Let's try these drawbridges. We've never used them. If you guys have never seen them, well, if you've watched my channel, I've never used them. But they basically just give you a way to gap a 3-block bridge. So the idea is that this part right here can snap to any block, and then you can have an empty gap underneath it, and then it can connect to a belt right there. Similar to the way we do a lot of these things with like beams to cross gaps, like these guys back here where I'll use beams to cross a gap. Very similar to that, but this one actually has a conveyor belt. I probably should use it a little more moving forward. It would allow me to bridge gaps without having to fill it all in with stone to get a belt where I needed it. I could just use a drawbridge and then it bridges the gap the same way. Saves a little materials that way. I don't know that it's really that big a deal, but it's something to think about. Alright, let's pick all this stuff up here. We don't need all this. It's just going to be a distraction. And I will hang on to this idea if I do need... If it proves to be easier, we'll do it that way. But for now, I think I just want to build it close to this. Alright, this is going to be... This is going to be fuel coming in, and I actually need to change this. Oh, that's the difference in the two designs. That's right. I resaved this one. One of these has the fuel coming in from the other direction. Yeah, I think this is the one I want to use. So let me pick this one up. Let me pick this one up. Because this one has the fuel coming in from this direction to feed everything. And to get all the belts correct, I basically have to tear it all apart. So let's just delete it all. And then place the other build, the updated version, with the fuel coming in from the right side. That way, it can match that build, and we'll just have one line of fuel. So let me get this somewhere about right here. Let me make sure that leaves room for coins and purchasing portal. Yep, that looks good. And then we'll scoot this one over. Grab that. And cut it. And paste it in and just match up our belts for fuel. Right there. Yep, that's what I want. So I can delete that. I need to essentially just run this fuel line out to there and then just drop it into the build. The next machine. Like that. I can still delete that. Again, I just had that block to climb up on it. Now we have our fuel is going to come in right here, so we just need to pull a fuel line out and feed it in right there. So we'll drop in our fuel to be right here. Pay it out from the top. That's going to take our black powder into this. I don't want to connect it just yet, do I? Not just yet, not just yet. I don't have purchasing portals set up. I don't have the iron coming in. I did leave myself just enough room to sneak this iron back here. Maybe kind of tricky because I've got the purchasing portal right here. I may move this purchasing portal and change this belt direction to come from here. Put the purchasing portal over on this side instead. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm going to do. So let's have it paying out like this. That works fine. As close as I can get it to the machines. And then have it run like that. Yep, that's what I want. Alright, so we just need a coin line to come in from here into that. Put down a purchasing portal for all of these. One will work just fine. I'll leave myself one space. Actually, yeah, that's fine. So we'll have coins coming into here, and we just need to pay this into all of these machines, lift them up, and we're nearly done. All right, I think I'm about ready to place everything here. Looks like we've got everything set up. I just have to turn all of our machines on, start fueling everything. So we'll start with the... what do we start with? Let's start with the limestone. So let's just connect that so it can get going because it's one of the slowest. And we've got our iron already coming in. When it gets backed up, the priority should switch it over to drop it into the trash. So we're just waiting on a few of those iron ingots to come in. We need to buy the coal ore to be turned into the coke powder. Get that turned on. The limestone is on. And now, once everything gets up and running, we'll add the fuel to it last. Actually, no, the fuel's going to take a while, so I might as well get it going too. It'll take it a while to hit all the machines on all the belts and feed up into all those. All right, our copper bearings are coming in. We've got a little bit of a surplus here. This was the only thing I was not sure if it was going to be able to keep up with. Because it says each one of these produces 30 a minute, but I did not remember how many iron. It says we're getting 15 and 15, so in theory, this is more than enough. Huh. So I may want to actually put a priority merger right here to split some of these ingots off, actually back here, to split some of these ingots off into a coin production for the overflow, because I do want this to stay running to produce the malachite, although we are getting an overflow of malachite. Yeah, I'm getting way more than I can actually sell. Probably need to redesign this or put a trash can down or something. I don't know. It's just wasteful. We're getting so many of them and it's backing up, and then the whole machine's going to shut off just to get a couple diamonds every day. I don't know. But we're overproducing those big time. Let me go ahead and stock the store. Oh, it's a new day. What do we get for random quests? Growth potion, Mars, and turquoise. Oh, I could do that. That's good money. Here's our pocket watch quest. All right, so we're just waiting on the pocket watches now to get fired up and get fully producing. I guess, oh yeah, I need to get the output for that. Put them at least in a storage box or something. They're going to produce 15 a minute. 5 a minute is the base speed, so there's our steel gears finally hitting it. We've actually got a few of them already made. I think I'm just going to use a small storage box for now, because I don't think we'll need, well, let's get a medium one. It's probably going to be way more than we need, but let's get a medium box here. And then that should start to fill up with our pocket watches. Cool. Oh, one thing I just remembered. now that our build is up and running, we need a dispatch portal for these, right? Or I'm going to eventually need a dispatch portal, which means I also need to figure out what to do with the coins from this, but that will be an easy solution, an easy thing to solve. For now, we need to get 20 of these and turn them in for the sample quest so that it will start asking for them in the dispatch portal, right? Sample request. In order to find a stable long-term supplier of alchemical materials, the Trade Guild is gathering samples from various alchemy shops, and we need to submit 20 pocket watches. We'll get 26 silver for this, and we get the contract where we can sell these every day in a dispatch portal. Cool. Yeah, there's our dispatch portal purchase contract for pocket watches. So now I can just input those into here. Set down a... how much are we going to get? 26 silver a piece. Wow. So we can actually just take these and feed them right back into the belts, into the line somewhere. Wish I'd have thought about that. Having a nice place to do that where I don't have to jump over a bunch of belts. But I will probably just take them out of here and feed them into the main line somewhere over here. Yeah, they'll just snap into right there. But yeah, there's our pocket watches built. It's all up and running. Everything looks to be running well. Okay, well, I had a slight problem with this. The ingots were... the priority was not getting... I had something mixed up with the way the priority splitter works. It was trying to pull all the ingots off of that line instead of pulling from this first. So what I needed was a priority merger back here somewhere. And I'll have to redesign that. But I think for now, instead of trying to fool with that, I'm just going to keep throwing it all in the trash. And I'll just put down a stone furnace back here. And then we can feed this whole system. Let's see. I'll need a stone furnace. Actually, right here is fine. We'll need to get fuel into it somehow. Oh, there's literally fuel right behind it. Okay, so let's put this down right here. And then we put down a iron smelter at the back of this. Because I've done the math on these before, and it only takes one more of these to feed this. Alright. I gotta get a little creative with my belts here, but all we really have to do is drop that down into this line, which means I just need to move this over a little bit. Like this. So then our output will come out of this and then feed into there, and we can feed a belt from that to fuel it if I had it set down correctly. Change the input and output to feed from there into that. There we go. And now I probably need a purchasing portal to buy the iron, because I am just going to have this thing... Oops, end of the day. I am going to have this just buy iron right here. Change that to iron ore, and then we'll feed it from that up to there. Like that. And that will be the supplemental iron that we need to get this whole thing up and running. And keep it running so that it doesn't overflow. That should be more than an... actually, I hope it's not more than enough. I have to sit here and watch it. Because this is going to produce, how much? 30 a minute. At base speed, that's 10 a minute. So, what are these? Is 15 intake, but it recycles 11.8. So it needs something like 3.2 more. And that's going to produce 3.3 more. It might end up being too much. And if it is, we'll put up a priority splitter before we send it in there. And then it'll be all balanced with a splitter. send the excess to the trash when it gets full, that sort of thing. Anyways, that's going to wrap up this episode, guys. That's our pocket watches going into the dispatch portal. I do need to set up a coin line to send all this excess coin back into the line, but that's going to wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing so you don't miss a future episode. Hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Lets me know you enjoyed the content and you'd like to see more, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.